Russ College has had a football team in several decades. However, some have shown interest among the alumni to reintroduce football back to the college. Dr. Ivy Taylor, the president, has shared some information with us about what it would take to bring football back to campus.
I don't have all the answers to that. That's why we're still in conversations. I think in general, people have the impression that the return of football would provide a boost campus-wide, not just for athletics, but just for the profile of the institution in general. But I think we need to carefully discern whether that is likely to happen, and we have to weigh that with the many other needs that we have here on the campus.
According to Dr. Taylor, setting up a football program is not an easy task. The college will need to be able to provide the funding to sustain the program, a stadium, and also all the liabilities that will be required.
That would be a multi-year process. It's not something that we would, leave and say, oh, next fall we're going to have football. It would take some time in order to build the support, to ensure that we have the financial resources to recruit the students, and ensure that we have the proper facilities. So again, nothing is set as a plan at this point. There have just been some conversations, and we may make the decision to possibly have a formal feasibility study, but at this point it's something where several parties have expressed interest. But again, there would be a lot of fundraising that would be required. We would need certain facilities, and I think the reason why not just Russ but other HBCUs stopped having football is because of the expense and because of the liability as it relates to insurance policies and coverage.
As a former mayor of San Antonio, Texas, she already knows what it takes to invest in building a stadium.
Oh, wow. It's so funny because before the camera was turned on, you were asking me about my time as mayor. And I will reflect on that because when I was mayor of San Antonio, I had some boosters who wanted to bring an NFL team to San Antonio. I hated when that conversation came up because an NFL stadium was going to cost, a new stadium was going to cost over $1 billion. And we had the Alamo Dome, and I said, sure, if somebody wants to come play in the Alamo Dome, I will be glad to host him. We'll even spend 2 or 3 or maybe even $400 million to fix the Alamo Dome. But it became clear early in the conversation that that was probably going to be a non-starter, that a team would want a new stadium. And I just felt like there were so many other needs that the city had that it was hard to justify putting that money into a stadium.
However, rather than spending a huge amount of money on building a new stadium, the president would rather invest the money on those projects that will move the college to the 21st century.
I feel the same way here, that we need improvements in the dormitories, we need more classroom space, and we need to make investments in professional development for the faculty and other types of programming for students. So it's hard for me at this time sitting here to envision spending money to build the stadium when there are so many other capital needs on the campus. Not to mention that we own the Mississippi Industrial College campus across the street, and those historic buildings are dilapidated because we have not had the money to invest into restoring them. So a stadium would be pretty low on the list in my current estimation.
This has been Tonnerrio Phillips reporting for RCTV2 News.